Are you recording?
Oh, there it is, Andy.
Hey
We
there.
are live again a month later. How are you, my friend?
Very good. Very good. How are you on this beautiful day?
Well, I have to tell you, as I've shared before, it is, it's springtime and I live on 5 acres out in South Langley by the Aldergrove border. And I know tomorrow is Mother's Day, but the farm is really mirroring what's going on. We have many babies here, new baby goats and baby kittens, and one of the cows are out getting to become a mummy, if you get my drift. So it is definitely Mother's Day here on the farm, and it's a beautiful, beautiful day. If you guys stay inside, you've got to get outside. It is
Yeah.
an absolutely stellar day.
Yeah. Last night was the first day that we had a full meal and sat outside in the back patio. It was wonderful. And enjoyed the Northern Lights. Saw those, and yeah, it was a spectacular evening. And I'm looking forward to a great weekend. Mother's Day is tomorrow, and yeah, that's a special day for Nina.
It definitely is. And all the moms, I like to call it when I do posts for different people, I say the moms, the step moms, and the bonus moms, because there's a number of women in this world that step up in that role to help mother the children around the world. So it's a special day just to kind of pause. In my family, Andy, we call it Ladies' Day. Because we just celebrate all the ladies out in the world. Without
Yes.
ladies,
Yeah.
you and I wouldn't be here. As they say.
Yes, very much so. Yes, yes, yes.
Quick question, Andy. So, are you going to get to the Fort Langley Farmers Market today? Because I'm sure you're going to
Yeah,
find everything you're going to need for Nina tomorrow.
yeah, and some fantastic pies too. Yeah, it's opening up this weekend. Initial spring opening. Farmers Market is, once again a big feature of Fort Langley on the weekend, and yeah, I'll be dropping by. Flowers can be had there, all sorts of goodies. So Fort Langley Farmers Market is a plus.
Oh, so let's see if the market is plus or minus right now. That was a good segue.
Yeah. Well, she'll, okay, let me just quickly share my screen here and get right into it. So, well, we do have some very interesting things to talk about this month. Uh, the market has made some big changes. For sales, the real estate board processed 1,471 sales during the month of April. That's a 5% increase compared to March of last month and a 5% decrease from April of 2023. And you think, well, there's no big changes there. However, supply of new inventory in April of this year increased
Wow.
33% to 3,976 listings from March 2024. So that's a total now of 2,986. And that's a 60.5% increase compared to the same month of last year. So total inventory now sits at 7,313. And we really start moving into a strong buyer's market at 7,500 listings. And we might see that because there's been a real surge of new homes coming on the market. And here, for those that
Wow.
like to see a graph, I do. So you can see here's this last month of April. We've got listings at 3,976. Sales were 1,471 compared to last month. And there you can see that we had 2,986 listings. Sales, well, 5% less at
Mhm.
1,395. And last year for April, there was only 2,478 listings. So that's the big jump. That's 60%. Sales are being relatively the same. Not a big change there. So when you know that when you have inventory weighing in on the marketplace and sales staying the same, there's only one thing that the market can do.
Mhm.
And then looking at our months of inventory, here we are starting to touch that buyer's market at 5 months of inventory. And as I said, once we hit 7,500, we'll be in that green zone. And it's a balanced market, but it's going to be buyer concentric. And also, too, when we look at our inventory statistics, and this is interesting too, because detached homes, there's a big jump here uh,
Mm.
4.7 months of inventory to 5.7. Townhouses, not so much of a jump.
Mm.
Condominiums, not so much of a jump. Still in that seller's market, but definitely we're starting to see detached homes going into the more balanced of the market. However, in the last
Mhm.
months of so, pricing is still creeping upward in both detached townhouses and relatively so in condominiums. This doesn't mean that it could continue upward. I expect to see a little bit more of a flattening out in terms of sales pricing on the home price index, simply because we have so much new inventory. This is
Mhm.
going to make a bit of a change. Why we're starting to see all this inventory. Maybe buyers, well, the volume of sales is relatively the same, but I think buyers are still holding back because of the interest rates. And also too, a lot of sellers are refinancing and
Mm.
a lot of mortgages coming up on 2019, 2020, 21, and 22. They're starting to come in and need refinancing, and they were at a much lower rate. So people are starting to think about do they want to stay in their home at that mortgage rate, their new mortgage rate. So that,
Andy, just before you go, if you can go back to that other one, you know me, I start
yeah,
thinking of a question. Now, do you think because of the flattening out of the detached, because you've talked about before that it's quite a jump in your mortgage rate to go from 800,000, of course, up to, 1.6 million. Is that townhouse price going up a little bit? Like people thinking, okay, because there's beautiful townhouses out there that feel like homes, and a lot of them are detached. And a couple of years ago, I know you sold one that was a freehold. Do you think that's going to go up? Like the pricing of that go up, but the house, like detached homes, stay flat?
yeah, I think that the condominium and townhouse market will be relatively stronger than the detached market because of affordability and the higher interest rates. And we won't really see that change in the next short period of time. The housing, the detached housing, I mean, like I said, I'm expecting to see these things flatten off a bit. That you can actually see in townhouses, it did come off a bit. Detached is not in the same upward trend, but the detached houses, if there's a suite in the basement or a suite somewhere in the home
Mm.
with a mortgage helper, they are much more readily available for sale. Buyers seem to gravitate towards that. They are looking for that mortgage helper simply because pricing is still high and interest rates and mortgage rates are still high. So it's going to, if you have a suite, then that's a big bonus in terms of selling your home. So yeah, getting into Langley, and here's our inventory. So 5 months of inventory, we're not there yet, we're still at 3.9, 3.6 to 3.9 of inventory. Townhouses relatively the same. Condominiums shot up in terms of how many are coming on the market, but at the same time, Langley has performed well in terms of pricing and still has low inventory. Although here I saw in Bedford Landing, we had one home listed, and now I think there's 6 homes listed in Bedford Landing. So we are starting to see pockets of higher inventory. Having said that, the home price index for Langley, you can see that our price jumped up a bit last month. But again, I'm expecting to see that flatten out a bit. It means though that the market's still strong. It's still a good time to sell if you're thinking about selling. However, you have to be sharply priced to see a sale. And same with townhomes and condominiums. They're just roughly flat after a bit of a dip over the Christmas period and that spring market where things are starting to pick up again. Yeah, so that oh, I have Saturday, but we're going to do
Thursday, the 6th.
Thursday. Yes, yes. Oh, I should have changed that. Okay, so that's it for this
We'll go
month.
back in time. We'll go
Yeah,
back in time on that
but
one.
look forward to
Well, it's so fascinating, Andy, because I'll get you to stop sharing your screen here. Is Donna Van Beek? I was using her office for some meetings a couple weeks ago, and I was talking to their part that does their, the real estate transactions, and they said they are so busy. Like they are. I said, so is it slowing down? Is everybody in this bit of a lull? They said they are so much busier. They had their best months in this last couple of months that they've ever had in their 30-year history. It's just their things are, and friends are selling their house. Like like what's going on? Like what is going on, Andy?
Yeah, well, that's that flood of inventory. I think that, like January, February were very, very good months. January, February, and parts of March
Mhm.
were very strong. And then end of March, April, and we did see a little bit of a slowing down in terms of activity. But well, that's what I saw, and I think a few other realtors have saw that too. That is looking forward to the market has their, periodically little swings, but I think
Mhm.
at the same time, the big news is the huge increase in inventory, 30% month over month and 60% year over year. And that is going
Wow.
to make some changes in the marketplace in terms of buying and selling and being that you need to be priced. If you're listing, you got to be priced well. And if you're buying, take your time and choose the home that you want to live in for many years.
So it's fascinating all the time. I learned so much from you, and it's kind of my job to update what's going on out there. And of course, we said about the Fort Langley Farmers Market.
Yeah.
We just I don't know about you, but I've caught up on my sleep from our big fundraiser that we had with the Fort Langley Jazz and Arts Festival this past Friday.
Well,
Not yesterday, a week ago.
yes.
And we raised $10,000 for our festival for to help us put it on. And we have our youth concert series coming up at the end of the month down at the CN station, which is going to be fantastic.
That'll be a
And I
lot of
hope, yeah, and our festival coming up in July. So much going on out in the community. Now this nice weather is coming out. I'm excited for the festival this year.
And May Day Parade in Fort Langley, over 100 years now of continuous parades put on by the Fort Langley Lions, and the Jazz Festival will have an entry there. I'll be in my car, and Jeanette, you'll be there with some bears, jazz bears, and that's going to be that's always a lot of fun. The weather looks great, and we look forward to seeing a full crowd coming out to the Fort Langley May Day Parade.
Oh, yeah, I remember last year was so much fun. It was
Yeah,
so much fun.
and
Yeah,
that's
I think,
Monday and starts at 11 o'clock. That's
yeah.
it.
I have to tell you, rewind. The last time I was in a parade, other than last year, I think I was 5 years old in the London Santa Claus parade with my baton. So it feels really cool being in a parade and having people watch you. I just have to say, it's a lot of fun to come out, and a good time is always had by all.
Yeah, I just gotta interject that too, because in the early 90s when I first joined the fire department here in Fort Langley, I came in the hall in February, and then 2 months later I'm in a parade, and the fire leading the parade, and I'm handing out candy. And I think I was living in the fort for maybe 2 years, year and a half, and I thought, what a great place to live. Here I am. I've joined the fire department. I got training. I opened a small business, and I'm walking down the street handing out candy to kids on a beautiful May Day, and it was like it was fantastic. Was one of the highlights of when I first moved here.
So, with that note, Andy, we'll end it by here. How long have you lived in Fort Langley?
Oh, I 35 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
That's almost like you could almost harvest a tree to start building something at 35 years. Just saying. Just saying.
Oh yeah.
Anyways,
And I was really footloose and fancy free before I came here. Like I was everywhere. So
yeah.
Fort Langley,
Good place
great
to settle
place.
down your family is in Fort
Yeah,
Langley.
yeah. And Fort Langley's been fantastic to me. It's given me a lot.
Awesome. And on that note, why don't we go take a lot from Fort Langley because this beautiful day and hit the shops and hit the farmers market and some of the cafes and restaurants and flower shops in order to get moms and the bonus moms and the step moms exactly that perfect gift for
Yeah,
tomorrow.
you bet. Yes.
See you
Okay.
next month.
We'll see you next week or next month.
Next month. Next month.
Um,
Bye bye, everybody.